Yes, yes, yes. It is the Castworthy Podcast back at you. I am Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, joined by EJ the Savage and Vari. And we are here on Sunday, May 3rd, 2 days prior to Cinco de Mayo, also Taco Tuesday. Um,
That's prejudice.
to get you No. I love it. I love it. I can't be prejudiced if I like it. To give you some more content. Hey, are you here with us?
Yeah, what is he doing down there?
You all right?
Going in. That boy going in over there, man. Hey,
Right.
man.
Demon
We
time
can
is
see
for at
you.
night, Mari.
We can see you, champ. You know what I mean?
This nigga like demon replay.
Demon time.
Aaron, get out. We're recording.
I don't need anything. No.
Golly.
Oh boy.
Shit. Oh man, it's beautiful
See me
day.
and Steve on the same wavelength today with the Yankee fits, huh?
Yeah, man.
Huh?
I mean, little stankies. They talking about shortening the season to about 100 games.
As they should have years ago. Tired of these long ass baseball seasons. Shit's boring.
You don't like baseball. You don't like basketball
Yeah.
seasons. Like,
Being for what? 82 games for what? Everybody ain't watching them shits. They be like, oh, the Lakers and the Kings and the Knicks played.
you,
Bring on the playoffs. Like, fuck.
niggas people used to watch it, and
Yeah.
and then LeBron happened.
Ooh, talk about it. Talk about it.
Now it's like, well,
Wow.
you got you for the last however many years you had LeBron's whatever team he was on with all the superstars in the Eastern Conference. So any other Eastern Conference game was trash. And now he's in the Western Conference, so it's him or the Clippers are playing in the West, then you watch it. If not, why stay up? Why wait?
Right. Yeah, well, when they moved it from what was it, NBC? NBC, when they moved it from NBC and that whole theme music changed, it changed for me. That theme music was classic, man. Back in the 90s, playoff time, see the little colorful peacock and they played a little theme music, man. That joint used to be epic. Then they moved it to boring ass TNT. Some people ain't even have TNT.
That's true, but they got the best. They got the best. Best show though. Sometimes I stay up late just to hear fucking Chuck and them niggas talk.
Yeah, now, but think of all the years we went with it when we didn't have, them doing it. You know what I mean? I tell you, NBA.
Do you guys watch basketball in Miami, Vari? Now that LeBron's gone.
Of course, man. We got a championship team, though. So we're hooked. We're fanatics.
Oh God.
I know you guys didn't watch basketball before LeBron. Before Wade. And so now that they're both gone, I would assume that there's no reason to watch basketball in Miami. It's back to just the beaches and cocaine, and that's really it. Not even the Dolphins. no Marino.
Yeah, and the Hurricanes is some trash right now. So.
That's where they moved their energy, and then they had those chains, right? The
turnover chain.
Yeah, Hurricanes are definitely some trash right now, man. They got to get back to basics. Like, stop the gimmicks, stop the bullshit, and just get back to fucking basics, yo. Just get back to football, because the chains and the touchdown ring and all that other shit, it ain't working, yo. Like, just get back to the basics.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Get back to the basics of picking up thugs, as Miami would say, the thugs, huh? That's why you ain't going nowhere, because y'all stopped embracing the thug mentality. We have Florida
Well,
got killers over
not
there.
just that though.
Literally.
Not just that though, but like back in the back in the 80s when people weren't really recruiting out of Miami like that, Schnellenberger went into the projects and recruited a lot of them guys from the projects. Huh?
No.
Oh, Snellenberger went into the projects and recruited a lot of those guys who weren't who nobody was looking at. You know what I mean? And that kind of put Miami on the map because you used to look at those rosters back in the 80s and the 90s, and it was like 60-70% of that roster was from Miami. And then you start seeing the dominance that those guys were having, and other teams picked up on that real quick, and started recruiting out of our backyard. So now it's like, okay, I could go to Miami, but I could go to Alabama, LSU, USC, and on and on and on. So these guys have mad choices, It's kind of almost like when you watch that. I don't know if you guys watched that documentary on the NCAA that was talking about the 150-year history of it, and they talked about how during segregation, how the HBCUs like Howard and gambling and all of them were just killing it because their teams were all black. They had all this talent. And then once teams started seeing like, man, these black players can really fucking play, and started recruiting those guys, you start seeing the Howards and all of those type schools going into the shitter, and all of these other schools becoming even more of a powerhouse when they started adding those black players. And I think that recruiting out of Miami kind of is in that same vein.
Yeah, we still, as HBCUs, we're still feeling the effects of that today, especially as it pertains to basketball and football. And segregation, the end of rather probably harmed the black colleges more than any black financial institution, maybe second to the black banks. So yeah, you're right. But let's not also forget about Miami and the outwardly racist ways of the athletic director and the university in basically making those guys feel like they were thugs and not supporting them because they felt like their on the field antics were too much and etc. Similar to how Maryland, University of Maryland, since the death of Len Bias, kind of stopped recruiting from the DC and Baltimore area. I mean, if you look at that school and just football and basketball wise, Maryland should have won national titles for like 12 years straight. You got like 60% of the NBA at one point was from Maryland, and maybe still is. And not one of them, like maybe 5% stayed to play for Maryland. When you got Carmelo Anthony, Beasley, freaking what's his name, Kevin Durant, just a few guys to name, none of them dudes stayed at Maryland, which is nuts. But yeah, fuck the Canes, go Gators.
You definitely speak some truth about the administration at UM, the AD and the such. And part of the problem was that Miami, especially with it being a private school, unlike a lot of these powerhouse colleges that are public schools, Miami looked at themselves as being like this. They wanted to be like an Ivy League style university, and they even used to call themselves like the Harvard of the South, And so once they started recruiting like all the guys out of the projects and shit, the AD didn't like that shit because it's like, yeah, we're trying to build something different here. You know what I mean? And eventually these guys start winning, and it doesn't really matter about the philosophy you're trying to win or build, because now you're winning. The school is being put on the map, and you don't have no choice but to accept it. But that was part of the issue there, was that they were trying to build themselves up to this Ivy League style school, which isn't, the case. And I don't think it ever was going to be the case given where the school is located. But, it is what it is, but you're definitely right there.
Yeah.
Miami had killers too, though, EJ.
Yes, indeed.
Didn't Ray Lewis come from Miami?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, killer. Killer. The Aaron Hernandez before there was an Aaron Hernandez.
Oh man.
Michael Irvin with the cocaine nose.
Mr. Coke Nose.
Yeah, Miami got him. Miami got him too.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's when they was on top. And then, we're not even talking about the guys in the 2000s that we ain't hear about because they ain't go pro. The goons, you know what I mean? The goons that was, holding it down for Santana, Moss, and you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, listen, football, that's what it is, man. You take cats out of a certain place, that got a level of aggression and feelings, and football gives cats a place, an outlet to release that. And it's really important that programs understand this, and that they got to understand, they got to change the culture, not so much for these guys to just change the university, but to kind of understand it's bigger than football. That's why you hear legendary coaches get so much praise, because they bring guys in regardless of where they come from and what they do. And Jimmy was doing that down there. Jimmy Johnson was doing that down there. He was letting those guys be who they wanted to be, and they won, and he kept them out of trouble. But when you have the university as the administration and the powers that be showing their hand and showing how they don't really want you, you start to develop that culture that says, hey, we just want you to play and shut up. And so when we deviate from the fact that these colleges have to create learning spaces and environments for these guys to grow, not just academically but culturally, and I think Miami, with the troubles that they've had with the recruitment, the different issues, they're really battling back to try to get back to where they wanted to be. And it's going to be tough, man, because all of them sanctions and and just the way that the NCAA has done Miami, I think has been unfair, especially if you look to Penn State. I don't even understand how Penn State still has a football program. I don't understand it. The NCAA has shown time after time that if you take money, we're going to kill you. Rather, you allow a guy to sexually assault minors for years on your campus, and after he was kicked out, you still let him use the facilities. All of these things, they didn't remove paternal's wins, none of that stuff. So it's something that I'm never gonna forget with the NCAA, and I'm kind of happy that the trend is starting to shift in basketball from the NCAA. I don't know that it will ever happen in football, but yeah.
Shout out to Sean Taylor's. Anytime we talk about Miami, we got to make sure that we certainly bring him up.
Yes.
I'm not a college football guy, but there's a couple little things I know about it. And I do know that you talk about Miami, about the Canes, you got a few things you have to talk about. You got to talk about Michael Irvin. You got to talk about Ray Lewis. You got to talk about Ed Reed. You got to talk about Sean Taylor. So just some guys you must talk about if you talk about Miami.
For sure, man. Warren Sapp.
Don't start,
The
Rock.
Rock.
We don't need the whole list.
They all out of.
We don't need the whole.
All right. So I won't go down the list.
Scarface.
So I won't go down the list, but what I will say to EJ's point, which I think is an excellent point when you do talk about somebody like a Jimmy Johnson, all praises to him. Is that you had a coach like Jimmy Johnson. He went into those places like the hood and recruited a lot of those guys, and he let them be them, and that led to a lot of success for Miami. However, when you look at some of those guys who, when they turn pro and they got some money in their pocket, that kind of, going to the NFL or NBA, whatever, your sport is, those things aren't going to change the person. They're more than likely going to highlight some of the issues that they have. And given that people who grow up in the hood, for when you grow up in the hood, there's usually only two passports out. their sports and the military, and it's incumbent upon these coaches who are pulling these guys from those kind of situations to, especially, some of these guys who don't have fathers, who don't have a strong parental situation that they come from, to try and mold some of these guys into men. So that way, when they do get to that next level and they start making that type of money that they make in the league, you have more Russell Wilsons versus Pac-Man Jones. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of these situations that you see happen with some of these players once they make it to the league is simply because they've never had any accountability. They've never had to answer for their actions. As long as you can play, as long as you are out there, making big hits, scoring touchdown, etc., then we're going to accept you along with all of your flaws. We won't try to mold you into being, a decent person, etc., etc., etc. It's all about the game. And then when they get to that next level, those things get even worse. And then you get to those guys to where we've talked about on this podcast as well as in our private chat about, how can these guys sacrifice all of this money to do this or to do that, to do this stupid thing, to smoke weed, whatever. And it's because when they were at the level before they got to the pros, they were doing all of that shit. They were basically sacrificing their career, to do all this crazy shit. But the coach just turned a blind eye to it because they were still healthy, still scoring touchdowns, still big hits, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Yep. So you guys were talking about the same Jimmy Johnson that has 3 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, national championship at Miami. All praises to him.
Where did he get the Super Bowl ring? I don't remember where he coached. No, nobody remembers.
Well, he honed his talents. Yeah, he honed his talents in some place called the University of Miami, and then
listen, man,
he took it to the next level and got with some scrubs, and made him good.
Did he win? We win a championship in Miami?
I don't know how we
yes,
as a college coach, yes, I don't understand where and how we got to Dallas. Okay, but since we're there,
who mentioned Dallas? I just asked about Jimmy Johnson.
since we're there, Dallas, you guys got a new quarterback, 32 years old.
We don't have a new quarterback. We have a new backup.
The Red Rifle.
That's not a new quarterback.
The Red Rifle, Andy,
best backup in the league.
He's about to be a starter, champ, because Dak ain't playing. He ain't playing. Hey, listen, man. I, for one, I don't see no problem with Andy Dalton being your starter. He can. To me, he can still throw the ball. He showed some flashes late last season. Y'all got the great CD Lamb and the great Amari Cooper. Listen, at the worst, all he's got to do is snap the ball, turn around, and hand it to Dak. I mean, hand it to
Zeke.
Same thing. Both them light-skinned boys.
Michael Gallup. Hey, listen. There's a reason why you guys don't see any problem with Andy Dalton as being the starter. Because you guys, well, you guys are not used to having good teams. You guys don't like winning.
Well, the Jets won against y'all this past season and the season before. I'm just saying.
But that's not winning.
That was our first win, actually. Thank you.
What was the last time they made the playoffs?
2006.
Don't worry. I'll wait.
2006. When the last time y'all was in the playoffs and won a game?
Last year.
Y'all won a game? Y'all won a game? Y'all won a game?
Yes.
Last year?
Yes.
In the playoffs? Won a game?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
When the last time y'all been to the conference championship?
Oh, now we're gonna change everything.
I mean, we're just asking.
We're gonna keep going.
We're just
When's
asking.
the last time you won the Super Bowl? When's the last time you did it? We could keep going. Till it fits the narrative. End of the day.
So
you guys
was there an answer in that? When's the last time y'all made the conference championship?
When's the last time y'all won the Super Bowl?
I mean, it's the same kind of question. I asked you first.
I'm just asking.
But I don't see.
I hate it here.
Andy Dalton is not a good quarterback. I think that he's some ass juice. I think that he was extremely overpaid in Cincinnati. when they gave him that big $112 million contract. However, in Dallas, while I still think Andy Dalton is a bad quarterback, if this contract situation with Zeke plays out through camp, if there is a camp or whenever camp starts, and Dak is not there in time and Dalton is the starter, I think that Dalton can be a serviceable starter. And I look at Dalton in the way of a quarterback. We were talking about University of Miami a second ago, and EJ will remember this with Ken Dorsey. Ken Dorsey wasn't a great quarterback, but in Miami, he had weapons like Kellen Winslow, Willis McGahee, Clinton Portis, Santana Moss, and on and on and on, who made Ken Dorsey look like a fucking stud, and who even went up for the Heisman. He was a finalist for the Heisman his last year at the University of Miami. So I could see Andy Dalton coming into a system with the Zeke, with the Michael Gallup, with Amari, adding CeeDee Lamb, with y'all O-line, and on and on and on with the pieces that you guys have, and having success. But is Andy Dalton a good starter? No. That's why he's not starting in Cincinnati anymore. So, but if he has to play, then I think that he can be serviceable given the pieces that you guys have around him.
Yeah, Andy Dalton can get the job done, man. Would I rather have Dak as the starter? Absolutely. I mean, if any day of the week, I'd rather have Dak as a starter. But I think Dak is doing himself a disservice, man. Not signing the tender, being fucking, super difficult when it comes to just the contract. I get it. It's your first contract. You're betting on yourself. You guys always talk about that shit, but it's not like they told him, yo, we're gonna give you 37 Fruit Loops and fucking and 2 gallons of milk. They told him they're giving him $105 million guaranteed was the last offer, which is the highest guaranteed contract ever in the league. And as you stated, he's probably got his agent in his ear, his friends in his ear talking about, wait until Kansas City makes a move and see how it can help you. But the difference is Kansas City, Pat Mahomes, that motherfucker ain't no joke. He ain't missed the playoffs since he started, and deep in the playoffs, and just won a Super Bowl. So there's a big difference there. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, sure, Dak had a bunch of great years. But like EJ said, and like you said, you can say, is that Dak, or is that, can that be contributed to the system? And, to Vari's point and, EJ's point, if Andy Dalton goes in there and they win, or they go deep in the playoffs, or have a very good year, other teams are going to be like, it wasn't Dak, it was a system. So why the fuck would we give him, the crazy amount of money he's asking for? So I think he's putting himself in a bad situation at this point. I think this kind of at least forces him, if he's smart, to sign the franchise tag, because that's the one thing that can keep him out of looking like the Cowboys team was what did all the work and he was just there reaping the benefits.
Yeah, man.
I agree with it.
To my bad. To piggyback though, it's and I'm saying all the same things you guys are saying. It's kind of weird at this point. You've gotten the highest offer you can get. And Jerry is pretty much, showing his cards. He's pretty much saying, I'm playing hardball. Andy Dalton, man. I mean, regardless of what everybody might say, I've always kind of not liked him, but I've seen the potential in certain instances. And I think the older these quarterbacks get, as you see in Miami, even in Kurt Warner's case, the older these quarterbacks get, the smarter, the more poised they're becoming. You put him behind this Cowboys offensive line that can protect, that can run the ball. I mean, shit, he's been in Cincinnati his entire career. This might be the most functional, flourishing position he's ever been in. You know what I'm saying? So he's back home in Texas. Let's not forget that. He's a Texas kid. His family lives in Dallas in the offseason. Everything is shaping up for him. He ain't got to worry about being in Cincinnati no more. He ain't got to worry about, hey, where was I going to move my family? He's cool. He's stationary. So all of those different factors, and you getting an owner and Jerry that's going to make him feel as if he's the number one guy. So he can mess around and really do some damage. And until the other point I was thinking about systems, Bill Belichick has made it clear, and he's gonna go with Stidwell. He did 10 games or more with Garoppolo, Brissett, and what was the other guy that they had years ago that went to Seattle or wherever it was and got the 60 million, and then Russell Wilson beat him out. Can't even remember dude's name that was in New England and then went out there. So it's like, the system, they're really going to show whether or not it's the system versus Matt Castle, right? Really going to show whether it's the system over the quarterback. To Steve's point, Dak is playing a dangerous game. First of all, you were a 3rd round pick. You weren't that great in college. The Cowboys took a chance on you. You got an opportunity to get out there and show that you can actually play. We don't know what's going to happen if you go elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? So, and right now, the quarterback situation isn't even welcoming for you to go elsewhere. That's why Cam is still sitting on the pine. So Dak is playing a pretty dangerous game, man. And I think Jerry has pretty much made it clear right here, right now, that, hey, get your shit together, or else like we gonna try to win this thing without you. And I don't blame him. I'm usually all for the players getting their bread, but Dak, I don't know. Somebody's not advising him right.
I definitely agree with everything that both of you guys just said. Dak is playing an extremely dangerous game. And the thing for Dak is that, he's waiting for a bigger number for the market to basically be reset, which is not going to happen until next year when Mahomes gets his deal. Dak would be better served signing that franchise tender, and then next year wait extremely late until Mahomes signs his deal. That'll reset the market for quarterback pay, and then Dak can come in and get a bigger contract than what's being offered now. Why he's not doing that, I don't know. I don't think his agent is giving him, the best advice right now, given how he's handling this thing. But to the points that EJ made, like Jerry is definitely playing hardball. He went out and got another receiver, the person who was considered to be the top receiver in that draft, to go along with what you got already. That was already going to put pressure on Dak. And then he went out and got an Andy Dalton, who, obviously, like Steve said, we know Andy Dalton is being brought in to be the backup. But if Dak keeps fucking around, Jerry has a guy who's been a starter for 13 years or something like that in the league, who is ready to step in on day one. So it's not like he went out and found some bum off the street. He has a guy who's been a starting quarterback in this league and had some success, even though, he's not that great in my opinion, but he's had some success, and he's shown what he can do when he has, receivers around him. I mean, he had great seasons with Chad Johnson or Ocho Cinco and TJ Houshmandzadeh, you know what I mean? So what is he going to do if you plug him in with an Amari Cooper and a CeeDee Lamb and Zeke in the O-line like that Dallas has? So Dak is playing an extremely dangerous game. Like EJ said, 3rd round pick. Yeah, you didn't get that much money. These guys offered you $105 million guarantee. You don't feel like that's enough. That's fine. Sign the franchise tag, get paid, $25-26 million for next year, and then go into free agency and, take them to the bank.
Yeah, and hopefully come off of a playoff year, right? Because now he's not coming off of a playoff year. We were poised for the playoffs. We were out front in front of everybody as the team, the Cowboys, that is, and with nobody in the way, right? The fucking tracks were clear, and here we are, full steam ahead as a fucking train, and the Eagles, the closest thing to us, they end up losing every goddamn wide receiver they have. They got a wide receiver that came from a call center down the road a week earlier, and they came out there and they ended up making the play, beating us off for the playoffs. So that doesn't look good for you as a fucking as a guy who's like, I need more money. And the other part is there, with everything that's going on right now, sure, they might try to reset the market, but these fucking companies, these franchises are going to be losing money, tons of fucking money, because these sporting events, even if they do start to have people there, they're not going to be as full as they were. They're not going to be at max capacity. They're not going to be able to be at max capacity. And even if they give him the green light, you know, at the governor level or the mayor level, etc., people are not going to want to do it. It's not going to be safe for me to be in there with you fucking chugging your beer and fucking doing all types of crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
Nah,
regardless.
you're right, Steve. You're right, but remember that the majority of the money that these franchises make in any sport comes from the TV revenue, not from selling, not from asses and seats. So, you know, the asses and seats is kind of cherry on the top. You know what I mean? The money comes from TV. And, you know, this year especially, I wonder if there's some kind of language in these TV contracts that the NBA and baseball and football has with the various networks that allows for them to get paid even more money, given that with Corona, even though some states and areas are opening up, you're probably going to have the vast majority of people who are still saying, I'm not going out there yet. I don't think it's safe enough. You know, here in Orlando, where we are, you know, my son saw a post with a kid that he knows at the bowling alley practicing because Boardwalker's open. You know, he came and asked us, hey, I want to go practice. You know, he's ready to get out. And we're like, yeah, it's not happening. It's not time yet, you know. And that kid may have gone out there and him and his parents are good to go, but we're not fucking doing it. So, you know, and you may have a lot of people like that when these sports starts back up, and you're going to start getting more viewership. And so it's possible that there could be even more money in the pie for these owners in these leagues.
Yeah, but I mean the overall point, Dak, you getting 105 million guaranteed, and you know, let's be clear, you know, the general rule, we're all black here, you know, don't count no other black person money. Cool, we throwing that out the window. We looking at it like you're a public figure, you're an athlete. This comes along with the territory. Just for anybody who wants to pitch that angle out there, you know, Tom Brady, although married to, you know, a high earning supermodel, et cetera, he ain't see this kind of money. You know what I'm saying? Not on the front end. You know, he got a lot on the back end with the training facility and all that. We ain't forget about that. But I mean, Dak, man, you were a 3rd round pick, bro. You know, you're getting 105 million guaranteed. That's more than anybody. Now, I guess his logic might be that once you set the bar there for me, cool. Because you still see some of these aging quarterbacks like even Tom Brady, Breeze, and Rivers still getting good money for their age and their level of performance. And I guess his logic might be, you know, if these guys were in their prime at my age with their name, you would probably offer me more, maybe. But man, take the bread, you know, take the bread. You know, injury is always a scary thing. Production, you know, we got to see you win some things. And bro, it's the highest on the market right now. You know, make it happen, man. And I think this Andy Dalton thing could be saying that the Cowboys might feel like he may not be getting closer to coming to the table. So I don't know, man, because Andy Dalton as a backup, I mean, again, I think can really go in there and win you some games if he's really focused, if he's feeling it. I think he could really wind up winning you some games. And if that happens and Dak ain't under contract, you know, what happens then now? Like, do you look like the biggest failure or the biggest, you know, letdown that could have been? Like, damn, you could have been that guy, and now what? You know what I mean? So I don't know, man.
And not just that, EJ, but like the point that you made earlier, a few minutes ago when you talked about look at Cam, right? And when you look across this league, the dynamic for teams that need quarterbacks has changed. A lot of teams, we talked about this a few podcasts ago about how young the league is at the quarterback position. A lot of teams have quarterbacks that they've taken over the past 2 to 3 years. And then even the teams that have aging quarterbacks, they're preparing.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. And then
trying to be safe.
All right. So then the other part is you know, go out and get it like Russell Wilson did, right? Russell Wilson, Seahawks, fucking, it seemed like they were never going to pay that dude. You know what I'm saying? But this dude won a Super Bowl, almost won another Super Bowl, you know, if it wasn't for a bad call by the coach, and he went and got his money. You know what I'm saying? So Dak is looking for this money again based off of minimal accomplishments. Um, and it's just you're seeing Kansas City came in. They made it to conference finals the year before. They made it to this. They won the Super Bowl last year. So teams are probably thinking, shit, I can go young. I can try and get a young quarterback, spend my money elsewhere, stack around him like a Tyreek Hill, like a fucking a good defenser like Matthew and stuff like that, and hope a young quarterback, young mobile quarterback can get me where I'm going. And why spend 105 somewhere else, or why spend whatever it is, whatever you're paying a star quarterback. Now obviously we're still going to see quarterbacks get paid, but from that standpoint, if I'm sitting on the sideline, and I'm thinking, where could Dak possibly land? He could land in a situation that is not favorable. Sure, you're gonna have money, but you could potentially end up in a shitty ass team. You could end up on Cleveland is built up, but he could end up on Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? Even though they just drafted somebody, but I'm saying a team like that, right? And that could be the worst for him.
Yeah.
Right. And there's not a lot of spots out there for Dak to go if this thing goes on the bad side of things, like what we're thinking. Look at what just happened to Trubisky, who was a first round pick. Chicago has essentially moved on from him, and that could easily happen to Dak. And you kind of see the ground being laid for that if Dak continues upon this path.
Yeah, he's not going to be with whenever stuff resumes. If he takes his contract thing out and workouts start, Andy Dalton's going to start to be the guy throwing to these cats. He's in Dallas. CeeDee Lamb, I don't know where he's from, but he went to Oklahoma, so he can't be too far. He's probably already moving into the area, as we speak. Cooper is a Southern kid, I think. I don't know where he's from. I think he's a Southern kid. I could be wrong. But, these guys probably are already talking like, hey, let's link up. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, Dak might be my quarterback, but, you're Andy Dalton, man. And Cats, despite his record or whatever, he's thrown to AJ Green. You know what I mean? He's been a franchise quarterback for some time, even though it's a shitty, franchise up until this point. He's been a franchise quarterback for some time. So as an active athlete, you got to have some respect for that. And you're going to say, yeah, man, let's link up. We don't know what we're going to have tomorrow, but we know what we got now. Let's do it.
Yeah. And the thing about it too, that's also not on his side right now, is that it's a different coaching staff, right? So it's not like Jason Garrett is sitting there like, yo, this is my guy. I understand that he's struggling and he's trying to get paid. So once he gets paid, that's my guy. Mike McCarthy comes in and he's like, nigga, I got to win. You know what I'm saying? And like EJ said, in those first team reps, is going to be Andy Dalton if he hasn't signed. And if that shit looks great in practice, even if he does sign, it could be, well, I still think this is the guy. We have a controversy. Or, Mike McCarthy might make the call and be like, Jerry, you know what? Save that money. Go get us a fucking another safety or some shit like that. And because I think Dalton can get the job done, and just looking overall, I'm looking at a list of teams because I couldn't think off the top of my head for any team where he could potentially land. So I'm looking now at the teams, right, and all I can see is maybe Pittsburgh, right? Pittsburgh, possibly Jacksonville, maybe, or Denver. Like those are only teams.
I would add
that don't
Washington in there just because Haskins don't seem like he's that great.
Right. Maybe Washington, but he's, they have a young guy who they could potentially, they could still be molding, and all it takes is for him to have a good year, and they're out of the conversation. But yeah, I mean, Mike McCarthy might be like, man, fuck this. I don't want that shit in my locker room. He already dealt with an egotistical quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep. And I'm pissed as a Jets fan because he wanted to be our head coach and we didn't let him, man. And I think he gets a shitty rap as a head coach. He doesn't get a lot of respect, especially how things went down in Green Bay. He's a guy that likes to make moves and be heavily involved in the player personnel. And, Green Bay chose Aaron Rodgers at that point. And now we see they're moving on and they're trying to get things going forward. But I really think Mike McCarthy, man, is a great coach, and he's gonna have something to prove, being that majority of the league, when they were looking for head coaches, seemingly didn't come maybe knocking on his door as aggressively as they could have. Maybe that's a perspective. But you got the Jets who, you can say whatever you want, and I probably wouldn't disagree with you, but they whiffed on him for Gase. So I mean that's enough to just say, you know what, F y'all. And amazing opportunity in Dallas opened up, winning franchise, a owner that we know wants to win. You're right, Steve. He might be looking at Dak like, shit, out with your ass. I'm gonna get it done with Andy. Period.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
They talking about they're on track and they anticipate normal schedule for the NFL. Are you guys buying that?
Yeah, I am. I think the schedule for the NFL will be normal. I think it'll start like in September, like when it normally starts. The only question is whether or not they're going to be fans, or are they going to sell, limited amounts of seats to ensure you can have some sort of social distancing, because if you have normal capacity, it's not possible to social distance at a sports venue. But I think that the NFL will start on time, and is mostly because of the money. The NFL, that they don't want to lose it, and the NFL is our highest grossing sports league in this country. They
Right.
get ratings unlike any other sports. I mean, people are watching the season, they're watching the off season, the draft, on and on and on. And it's just not like that with the other sports where people are this glued to it, and they don't want to lose that dominance. So they're going to start in September as scheduled, regardless of what's happening.
How do they deal with season ticket holders if they have to social distance? You guys think about that?
I think pretty much at this point, anybody that will attend any games will be doing it at their own risk. I don't know that they will offer. I don't know they will offer, or they will be obligated to offer people money back or anything like this, because this is something that wasn't written into any policy. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't.
My money back.
Yeah, I mean,
Tampa.
this wasn't written on the books. Like, hey, if we get a large global virus and outbreak of a pandemic, you'll get your money back. It ain't in the fine print. So, but you know something, they'll probably, you know what, they probably could do something in the sense of buying your season tickets back and then selling them off, because the reality is somebody gonna want them. Somebody gonna want them. Somebody gonna take them seats.
Especially with
Yeah.
Tom Brady down there.
Mm-hmm.
For me, at least, for my tickets. Yeah, man. So I can't wait for sports to get back underway, man. They were saying that something like 14 billion loss with sports just disappearing like that. That's a lot of fucking money, bro. Thank goodness it wasn't during football season. To your point, VP, being highest gross.
Listen, yeah. I'd have been at the bar. Fuck that quarantine.
Thanks for being so responsible, EJ.
Yes, indeed. Hey, if my job can still want me to come in, I should be able to drink. God damn it.
Aha. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Damn.
What else we got on the docket, man? 40 minutes in, y'all. You ain't even tell them where they could find us yet.
I told you, man. I told you I'm ready to get toxic today. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't have time for intros, baby.
True. Cocaine Cowboys.
Yeah. I mean, we had the latest 2 episodes of Last Dance, plus the upcoming 2 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, that too. And I got some insecure stuff I want to talk about. I don't know if Steve has got on it, but yeah, I mean, real quickly, Castworthy Podcast. Let me just give you the outlets you can find us on. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Podchaser.
Yes. You know, I gotta get on Insecure. Right now during quarantine, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna watch some shows, I'm gonna catch some shit, but I just don't be having time. Like, I work 3 to midnight, so when I get home, it's usually my little bit of TV time. If anything, I started that Too Hot to Handle, and then now lately, you know, I've been watching, the Tube on Instagram, and during the day, I just don't. It's always cartoons, man. So I just don't have time, man. I would love to have some quarantine TV time. That'd be a beautiful thing. It's just not doable with a toddler, man. But what's going on with Insecure? Give me something new to make people hate me some more about.
Oh yes. So Insecure, right? I'm watching this show, and I mentioned it before, but I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to conversations. I'm looking on Facebook, and it amazes me because we gave you the whole dynamic about Lawrence and Issa, whatever. And it just amazes me how, I don't know if it's the change of the times, this new womanhood empowerment and all of that good jazz, but I never thought I'd see the day where Black women excuse cheating to justify shitting on a Black man. I just never thought I'd see the day. And it's like, I want them, if I'm a single guy out there, I want them women that watch Insecure. Because basically you telling me, you know, I can do whatever I want long as I work and don't lay on the couch all day. So I can go fuck 10 different broads as long as I got a job. You know, I mean, this is stuff that I'm hearing. You know, she cheated on him because he wasn't doing anything, and it's okay, huh? So I mean, I never thought I'd see the day when this happened, and then I heard a lot of Black women talking about Issa's friend on the show, Molly, and how negative and how toxic she is, and I said, but how many of y'all are like that in real life? How many of y'all are perpetuating that in real life and ain't saying shit about it, ain't doing shit about it? It's just funny how art imitates life and how people don't like to look at themselves in the mirror and reflect. This is your life. This is why this show is so successful. This is why it's in every household. This is why it's renewed season after season, because it's art depicting y'all lives. Issa was one of y'all. Issa is one of y'all. She got rich, but she was one of y'all. This is art imitating life. And it just amazes me how these women could just sit back and speak as if they don't live this shit. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And you guys should be happy you're married and off the market, because I'm telling you, it's some sick shit going on out here. Just tell me.
Are you been watching it?
Oh yeah, man. I never miss an episode. It's interesting, man, because like the dynamic between the Molly character and the Issa Rae character, it almost seems like the Molly character is more successful. She's a lawyer, you know, and it almost seems like she's good as long as Issa's down. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I got somebody I can be above, so that means I'm doing well or whatever, you know. But when you look online at people who talk about the show on different, you know, podcasts and forums, what have you, a lot of people do say those things like EJ saying like, oh, it's all good, you know, like, you know, her cheating on the boyfriend is some kind of motivational step or something, you know, like now he got his act together. Look at him now. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of shit is that, yo?
Yeah, and on the last one, on the last episode, she said something to the fact like she felt some kind of way because now he's with a better chick and he's doing better, and she feels like she put in that work to make him that way, right? But when the basketball player,
the new chick's reaping the rewards, she said.
Right. When the basketball player moves on with his millions with the new chick, you know what I'm saying? It's a problem. I don't get it. This is the argument black women have year after year after year. Oh, he left his old wife. She was the one from the beginning. But when Lawrence does it, Issa should be mad. Or, like I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't.
Caucasians would never.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man. Like, she cheated on him, right? Her cheating ended the relationship. So what we're seeing now is where we used to see black women beat up on the cheater. Now we're seeing the cheater being praised, all because the guy was laying out with no job. I mean, just because he was being a bum, he was being lazy, he was doing this, that, and the third. He still was, financially doing what he's supposed to do. But the dude could have been down and out, man. He wasn't believing in himself, whatever. But she went out there and cheated on him with the guy who ain't that much better. He wasn't that much better.
So the student has become the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Black women now understand that,
exactly,
temptation is a real thing.
And I think it's just because it's a woman involved. So for them, they've connected themselves to Issa, and so now they have to excuse the behavior. You know what I mean? So she's I and I am her kind of deal. And so now I have to make the excuses and talk around it, etc., to make it all right. Whereas if we take the same show dynamic, but instead of have Issa Rae as the person who did the cheating and it's Lawrence instead, people be like, oh, he ain't shit. That nigga ain't nothing. Men are dogs. Da da da. You know what I mean? So, but because it's her, it's like, well, I mean, he wasn't really working that hard. He needed something to motivate him. Da 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 da. She shouldn't have to do this and put up with that and all this other bullshit. You know what I mean? And it's because it's a woman involved.
Preach, but the stay-at-home mom that when she's at home ain't cook nothing, ain't clean nothing, ain't giving the dude no ass, but he bringing in the 6 figures and all that. When he started banging the secretary, who doing all his dry cleaning, food, taking the kids out, all that stuff, he's the bad guy, right? I tell you, boy, I tell you.
Sounds like a little too close to home for some people around here.
I don't have no private secretary, brother, but
no more. You know what though? As you guys talk about it, I can't put all the blame on women, on our womanly people. VP over here is no longer the only feminist. Actually, he doesn't even sound like a feminist the way he's blaming them. But the people, right? So the women's that I think have these takes, right? It's because brothers are sitting home playing fucking 2K all day. So you know what I'm saying? So that's why they can relate to Issa, because niggas is sitting home. First of all, they take their little Mazda, drop shorty off at her job. You know what I'm saying? With her car. Like, why you need the car for the day? You ain't got no job. Just in case I gotta go get a blunt so I can play 2K. You know what I'm saying? So I can go get me some cigarettes or something. Walk, nigga. How about this? Go out and get a job. Maybe Issa won't cheat on you. I'm just saying that's how they're thinking, man. It's a two-way street.
Art imitating life. Do better. Go get you a better guy. End the relationship.
But all the years that we've seen, historically, where men were the breadwinner, we're seeing a change now, right? Men were the breadwinner, women were the homemaker, staying home, chilling and shit like that. And motherfuckers would sit there and be like, how could a man actually fucking cheat? And she's keeping the house so clean and taking care of his kids. Well, now it's the other way around. You know what I'm saying? Women are out there in the workforce, sucking their way to the top. And,
there he is. Toxic, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Just kidding.
Nah, no,
I'm
you
just
weren't.
kidding, guys.
Nah, no, you weren't.
That was just that's all for art. That's for entertainment, like you said. But women in today's society are they're making it right. However, and there's dudes out there that are struggling, and life has changed, and dudes are staying home with their kids and stuff like that. I mean, we have a friend that we know that does that, stays home with their kids while their wife goes to work. Vari, and he drops his kid, and now, right? Your kids are once they age out of daycare, and now they're in school. It's like, why do you need to stay home? You know what I'm saying? But it's again same thing. It was like that for women, and now it's starting to see it for men. Listen, give me the opportunity, I'll be a stay-at-home dad all day. I'm gonna go buy me a minivan. I'm gonna be at Starbucks with the girls in the morning. We're gonna chop it up. I'm gonna come home, clean the flows.
Facts.
Straight up. But I ain't gonna be sitting there playing fucking video games on the. Well, maybe I would play a little bit of video game, but now you know what I mean. It is what it is, man. It's just a change. It's a change of climate.
It definitely is, man. It's interesting. It's funny in all seriousness, though. It's just funny that I think.
But women always they're always going to support each other, right?
Yeah.
Like no matter what the situation is, whether it's negative or positive, if the woman is being toxic, they're going to be on the woman's side, right? If they're going to be, if the woman is the victim, they're going to be on the woman's side. You'll never find a majority, right? And there's going to be one-offs, but you'll never find the majority of women being like, "Oh, he's right, girl. He's right." Like it's extremely rare.
Yeah, you and I say this to my friends all the time. I said the difference between women and men, and they never really understand this, is that men, we know men ain't shit, and there are a lot of women that ain't shit, right? The difference is men, we don't take up for dudes we know ain't shit. We be like, hey man, that's him, that shit ain't me. Women though will generally defend their entire gender, and they don't even know the person.
Yeah,
They be like, nah, I don't see no woman doing that. She cheat. No, she didn't cheat on him with the brother and the brother's kid, and the kid is now the brother. No, that shit ain't happen. No woman would do that. Men, we'd be like, yeah, that motherfucker's foul. Yeah.
Right. That's just like homie in the show, E-Jack. I can't think of the character name, but the light-skinned dude, the one who's real funny, who talks kind of fast.
Yeah.
Even when Lawrence brings up to him about the Issa cheating, even that nigga's kind of like, I mean, fuck you expect. You know what I mean? Like, you sitting at home all day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's kind of to EJ's point where, dudes will be like, yo, I mean, come on, dog, Whereas on the women's side, it's kind of like, oh, he ain't shit, this and that, excuses, or whatever. Whereas the dude is kind of like, I mean, I kind of saw that coming, dog. Like,
plus niggas is just dirty. Like dudes be trying to dirty Mac. Like, you know what I'm saying? True. So once a dude finds out that shorty cheated on homie, he might be the one that be like, well, she did it once. You know what I'm saying? Let me call her. Women ain't truly, they generally not about that life. If they doing it, if they're supporting it, they're supporting of it. They're not thinking, oh shit, she cheated on him. Here's an opportunity for me to, to sleep with her deadbeat. You know what I'm saying? While dudes be like, man, I can't believe he cheated on you. You know what? Why don't we go get a drink and talk about it? I want you to feel better. You need to be there for your kids.
Nah, real life though. If I could think of some real life instances where I've given my homegirls advice, and not necessarily the dirty Mac, because at this point, once you're in the friend zone, you know what I'm saying, you in the friend zone. But like I tell people, and this is another topic, dudes' minds, we're never really in the friend zone. We always waiting on that one day, like Steve was saying. But like, I've given my homegirls advice to be objective and be like, yo, I mean, this happened, that happened, with no malice. But then when I've asked my homegirls and I present the situation, and some of them, even knowing the dirty details, be like, "Nah, I don't think it was that. I don't think you should look at it that way." Like, nigga, you lying? Like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But that was my toxic moment for the day. Had to be toxic. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I think I need to watch Insecure.
Oh yeah, you need to come with that heat, man.
It's good TV, man.
Catch up on it. See how that goes.
Yeah, you'll be on the bandwagon. You'll be on the toxic bandwagon on that one.
I started that Too Hot to Handle shit you were talking about, EJ.
Yeah, what you think?
I'm slow watching. I'm only on like the 3rd episode, but the black dudes on there, they not really black. Like they, you know what I'm saying? Like they needed some true like minorities on there. So, but yeah, it's interesting. All the dudes on there are pretty much cornballs though, for the most part. But I need to watch it a little further, and I'm only, like I said, I'm only a couple episodes in, and it's interesting. I mean, shit, it can't get much better. You're watching a show with women in pretty much bikinis all fucking through the whole show. Every time you watch the episode, they're on the fucking beach, so, and they're attractive, so
facts.
But I'm gonna watch it through. I'm gonna finish that and see what that looks like. You guys watch that what's it called, that other Netflix one that everybody was talking about? Is it called The Executioner or some shit?
Extraction.
Yeah.
Extraction. Did you guys watch that?
I haven't, not yet.
I
haven't watched. Was it good?
It was good. It was good to see. Damn, I can't think of his
Hemsworth.
Name. Hemsworth. It was good to see Hemsworth play a serious role for once. Because since he's been Thor, he's been comedic relief in every movie that he's been in. Since then. And it was pretty much like people were saying, it's like John Wick-ish in a lot of instances. And the main issue I have with it, is just how I have many issues with other Netflix films, is just the way it ends. And I'll leave it at that without giving too much. But yeah, it was overall pretty good. It was pretty good without giving too much.
I started watching it, but like you said, Hemsworth, like when I saw him, it didn't seem right. Like I was like, I'll come back to it. It was weird. Like he's throwing people around and fucking, like at the beginning, early scenes, throwing people around, throwing them through walls and shit. Like he got superhuman strength and shit like that. I'm like,
He got busy more in this role than Thor.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'll come back to it.
But that's funny though. That's a funny point though that you're talking about real quick, that all of the actors from Avengers, like him and Chris Evans, trying to find well, not Chris Evans, whatever Captain America's name is, can't think, trying to find themselves in different roles now. Chris Evans, because he has a new Hulu show right now as well, and he's done other things. Knives Out, that movie was ass. Don't believe the critics, that movie was ass. So it's just interesting to see that dynamic of the other actors trying to get different roles now that the Avengers are done. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times these guys, they don't want to get typecast, so you don't want to be the superhero and everything, so some of them try to take on, more serious roles, and sometimes people have success at it. Like I remember watching Robin Williams in that one joint with that he played. He was like the bad guy with Pacino. It took place like in Alaska or something like that. Insomnia, that's what it was called. And so watching that, I was kind of like, man, how the fuck is this gonna go? Like watching Mrs. Doubtfire, be the bad guy. You know what I mean? And I felt like he pulled it off. I've seen Jim Carrey in some serious shit that he was able to pull off, like when he was in that movie 23. But some people can make that transition and some can't. So it'll be interesting to see the Extraction joint to see what happens. I'm gonna watch it. I just haven't watched it yet.
Give me 3 people that you guys will never say their government name unless you look it up, but you know they're fucking, like, you think, you know, they're gonna be like Tony Soprano. You know what I'm saying? Like James Gandolfini's always gonna be Tony Soprano, right? Give me 3 people other than that fall in that. Uncle Phil is definitely 100%.
Yeah. Oh man. Ooh. Damn, that's a good one. Uncle Phil.
One for me is always gonna be Steve Urkel. Like I know his name is Jaleel White, but he's always gonna be Steve Urkel to me.
Yes.
Either Steve Urkel or Stefan Urkel. Like that's what he is to me.
Lucy Lawless. She's always gonna be Xena. Always gonna
Xena, Warrior Princess.
I dug deep for that one.
I didn't watch. You know. But yeah, man, there's those people that are just like that, right? Like Uncle Phil will always be Uncle Phil. You know what I'm saying? You see him 10, 20, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you see like a clip of him, it's gonna be Uncle Phil. It's not gonna be shit. I don't even know his name. Oh, James.
I don't know his name either.
James Avery.
James Avery.
See, I thought his name was John. I didn't know it was
you know, Gandolfini, same thing.
Omar from The Wire.
Facts.
True, Omar. I still see him to this day. I see him in the movie, and I'm like, "Oh shit, look at Omar."
Yep.
Facts. You ain't lying.
You know who else? If they ever get another one, Jon Snow.
Oh,
he'll always be Jon Snow.
Yeah, because he was in that movie Pompeii. I think it was Pompeii or something like that. It was something related to Pompeii, if it not the title. Pompeii.
That's what it was.
I was like, look at this motherfucker Jon Snow, man. Immediately I was like, man, this is bullshit. I was like, this is bullshit. I can't watch it. But damn. That's damn. Yeah.
It's like, it's people that, you know, you got to be like a goon, like fucking to have roles like, for example, Scarface, but Pacino is Pacino still. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can see Pacino and people still call him Pacino, but one of his biggest roles, if not the biggest, is Scarface, right? And a lot of people, obviously, you'll see him and know he's done it, but he's not caught in that bubble of Scarface, like, you know, like Gandolfini and shit like that. Rest to him as well. Or like De Niro, right? De Niro's played parts among parts, you know, but he's never been associated just to one, like the Goodfellas, you know what I mean, or whatever. Yeah. So,
but a lot of times with those type of guys, Steve, it's them making the role. You know what I mean? Because of how good of an actor they are, like Denzel. You know what I mean? Like, you know, this shit got Denzel and it's gonna be good. You know, same thing with like a Pacino or De Niro. You know, those type of guys. You know, where you don't necessarily know them as being, you don't know them from, you know, Eli from Book of Eli or you know, Pretty Woman or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, those people, their acting is just so good that it's their name versus the character name, you know?
I think De Niro and Johnny Depp are the two most versatile actors in history. I don't think they get enough credit for the diversity in roles that they've had. Like Pacino to start out being the Godfather's son, then the Godfather, then Serpico, then you know, a Colombian drug lord, and this dude is Italian. You know what I'm saying? And then Johnny Depp went from 21 Jump Street to Johnny Depp went from 21 Jump Street to being Edward Scissorhands to being freaking Jack Sparrow to being Donnie Brasco. You know, freaking he
Willy
did
Wonka.
The Black Mass joint being Willy Wonka. You know, that dude has acted all over the spectrum, yo. And it's I mean, he doesn't have a Oscar till this day, and I think he's one of them guys that's gotten screwed a couple times.
It's because his teeth are messed up. His teeth fucked up. He got horrible hygiene. Great actor. piss poor hygiene though.
Oh,
Sh-
toxic.
what else, man? The Last Stand Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
Episodes 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Episodes 5 and 6. Before we get to 5 and 6 potentials, 3 and 4. Did you guys like 3 and 4? You guys think 3 and 4 was more impactful or better than 1 and 2? Like seeing, Dennis Rodman's story and such, or what do we got? What do we got?
The Dennis Rodman joint was really enlightening for me because, like I've said in the past, like I didn't know young Rodman on the Pistons. Like when I was like aware of Rodman, it was once he became the Rodman we know now. With the crazy hair and all that kind of shit. So hearing his backstory was very enlightening. The part about it, the thing about the Rodman thing I didn't like. I don't know if the people who made the documentary intended it to be this way, but it was the way that I took it. I felt like they tried to clown him a little bit on that one scene where he was talking about how he used to watch the way the ball spin, and that's how he learned how to anticipate where the ball was going to be for his rebounding. And he was kind of like, if the ball goes like this, then and then like the way they edited it made him seem like they were trying to clown him a little bit instead of saying, this dude literally like put work in watching, ball rotation, and depending on where the ball hits the rim or the backboard, etc., this is going to determine which direction it's going to go in. And I can put myself in a position to be able to get these rebounds, to have these, games where I'm getting, 18, 24 rebounds, etc. He essentially honed his craft. And I felt like that one little small clip, the way they chopped it up, I feel like they really tried to clown him there, and that shit wasn't necessary to me. But overall, seeing the Rodman story again, like I said, I thought it was enlightening. The one part that was funny to me on the Rodman side, and I feel like this is one of those things that is probably just like some back in the day, like to like our parents' generation style shit, because that kind of thing just seems to not happen anymore. Where Rodman says, he had been homeless, et cetera, et cetera. He started going to the gym, and he's like, yeah, and then some guy comes up and he's like, hey, you want to play basketball? And he's like, all right, and the next thing you know, he's on the college team or whatever. And I'm thinking like that shit will never happen today, to where you're just some kid in the gym and some dude walks up like, hey, EJ, you want to play basketball? And you're like, yeah, I mean, fuck it.
Right. Yeah, I felt like that part was necessary. Only thing is, it's like I watched his 30 for 30, so a lot of it, that was unknown, to me prior to the 30 for 30. I knew because of the 30 for 30, but yeah, man, he was something special, and that whole Vegas trip, like this dude, him taking the shots, and then this dude drinking the beer, hopping on the hog, driving off, like he was something else, man. That joint was dope, and it was just cool to see. It just we were joking about this, seeing the differences in LeBron and Jordan as leaders, and Jordan comes from that era, man, where you like your team leader just told you what the fuck it is, and either you was going to knuckle up or you just accepted it. And like for Jordan to be like, yo man, stop being a bitch, get your ass back out here and let's do what the fuck we got to do, and he did it. Versus LeBron approach, you fuck up a little bit and you a little bit off, he gonna probably pretty much ship you out of there. But
hey buddy, would you mind coming in early to practice just a touch?
Yeah, you really see that savage that Jordan had, man. Like to could you imagine like this dude Dennis Rodman is like 6'7", huge, just freak of nature kind of looking guy. If you're the average person, mind you, all of these guys are huge human beings. But I mean, Dennis Rodman is like looked at as an enigma right now. He's just off the charts. He's doing whatever he wants. He's changing his hair. He's kicking reporters and cameramen in the nuts. He's wild. You know what I'm saying? And Michael Jordan is like, come on, let's go. let's play basketball. Let's do this. You know what time it is, motherfucker. You get on this court, you gonna play. I'm gonna slap the shit out you. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit is amazing, man. That level of leadership, it's amazing, man. It's truly GOAT status.
That's a testament to the difference in society and the league too. Because could you imagine if there was somebody that was acting like Rodman today in the league? Like they frown on fucking Draymond Green just because he kicked someone in the ding-a-ling a couple times inadvertently. You know, they fucking they hate fucking Joel Embiid because he talks a little bit of shit. Like compared to Dennis Rodman, like you're no Daisy. You know what I'm saying? Like he don't want to smoke with Rodman. Rodman would have been fucking considered what's the word? Like a delinquent in today's league. You know what I'm saying? They would have suspended. Like this dude walked off the court. He took his goddamn shorts off, man. Dang-a-lang swang at one point. And it wasn't in the documentary, but I remember that shit happening and being on the fucking news. Imagine if someone did that shit today. They probably kicked their ass the fuck out the league. And I think we only got a touch of what Rodman's Vegas trip was like. I think they left out the bulk of it. You know, they kind of just gave us the Cliff Notes version, like the Game of Thrones TV versus book version. Like, you know, we won't tell you what we saw when he woke up. He woke up the next day in the hotel room. No, we know what you saw. You saw fucking you saw Andrew Gillum. You saw Andrew Gillum night only with women.
Hey, but you're right though. Even Jordan says when he went to Vegas to get him, he's like, I walked in and I'm not gonna say what I saw, but I walked in and I went to Dennis and I'm like, come on, man, we gotta go. You know,
right?
Dennis, so, like Bernie Mac said on Players Club, Dennis. Hey, his bucket naked.
Cocaine, strippers, like I could imagine, dog. I can imagine.
Right. And what was the funniest part to me was that when they were like, Jordan comes in and Phil's like, yo, like he needs a vacation or whatever. And Jordan was like, I said to Phil, hey, Phil, you let this guy go to Vegas. We ain't gonna never see him again.
Oh, shit. That shit was funny, yo.
Yeah, man, that shit was real funny. But but besides the Rodman thing, like the whole like dynamic and relationship between the Pistons and the Bulls and Isaiah and Jordan, like that shit was palpable, man. Like you could like feel the tension, like just watching it. Like Jordan does not like this nigga, like,
when they showed him this shit, when they showed him the fucking video, I feel like they cut some pieces out of that shit. This nigga was like,
had tablet, like,
he can say what the fuck he want. He full of shit. And Isaiah's gonna always hate this nigga too. It's gonna be like 50 Cent Ja Rule. Like they're always gonna hate each other.
Yep.
Because this nigga Jordan was like, oh, you're not gonna shake my hand? Listen, y'all let him come to fucking Team USA. I'm not playing. How about that?
Yep.
Well, Isaiah, we regret to inform you that you won't be playing for Team USA, sir. We'll go with Christian Laettner, nigga. Oh shit.
Yeah.
That shit was wild.
That's crazy.
I want to see what tonight's is gonna be about. It's good seeing this stuff though. You know what I mean? Because you didn't have the social media and you didn't have the internet access and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty dope seeing it. Obviously, it's not as raw as it can be. We know that Jordan probably had a lot of influence on it. So, as much as I love Jordan, I'm sure he's going to come out of this thing looking like fucking Batman. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there's some fucking demons down there and some skeletons that we're not gonna see, that people are probably sitting at home like, what? And I'm sure they'll be on the fucking internet After it all runs, somebody like Scotty will be like, hold up, because you know Scotty like to talk. Fucking, that nigga's a snitch. Scottie Pippen is a snitch, dog.
Yeah.
Like, if I was
Yeah,
Jordan, man,
I didn't realize Scotty. I'd asked Steve in the chat, like, "Yo, does Scotty always sound like this?" Like, I don't remember him talking that much back in the day. I told Steve, I'm like, Scotty sounds like some old ass Southern farmer who's literally learning the words he's speaking, like as he's speaking them. God damn.
Y'all on one today, boy. God damn.
Scotty sound like a stroke victim.
Oh, yo, that's horrible. That is horrible. Y'all are sick. Y'all are sick for that, yo. Sick. Fucking sick.
Oh, it's just bad.
Yeah, motherfuckers are sick, yo.
Scotty country as fuck, man.
It's terrible. Yo, do they all talk like that? But you think about it, Bill Clinton talks kind of slow and drawly as hell too. You know what I'm saying? And he's from Arkansas.
Yeah.
So, oh man, but yeah, we'll see, man. Tonight's gonna be another 2 episodes. I stayed up last week before I fell asleep on the second episode. I had to go back to it. I was so damn tired, man.
Yeah.
EJ, how was it working from home for you? Did you have the kids or nah?
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're here every week. They're here every week, every other day. And the weekends, the weekends alternate. But yeah, that part, setting myself up and then getting them set up for school, like I was telling y'all offline. My oldest kid just wiped my fucking browser history completely out. Just signed me out of Google. I don't know what happened.
Bye Pornhub.
Yeah, man. On my good thing I only use my phone for that. So if anything happens, tell them to trash my phone. But yeah,
look at the
it was cool. Not having. I think the only thing that I really enjoyed about it was getting up a little late, but no matter what I was doing, no matter how much drinking I did the night before, I still got up as if I had to go to work. So it was cool though. I'm ready to go back though, because we're not working from home anymore. The job and the politics, the dirty politics that are being played right now is kind of crazy. So I'll be in there this week coming up, and it'll be fun for me. Before I left out, on Friday, a guy that was locked up for 23 years since he was 17, finally went home on a technicality of they got this law that they've passed for a lot of the juvenile offenders rather back in the 90s. A lot of these guys were murders, man. DC was murder capital at that point in time, so a lot of guys are locked up behind that, and they're realizing like, yo, first of all, we overcharge these guys as juveniles in some instances. And a lot of these guys, man, have spent their entire life, adult life, in the system, and we got to get them home. So to that end, he was a guy that I personally knew, and that was probably one of the best feelings I've had in such a long time. So I'm kind of going back to with some energy, trying to get some more of these guys to get home. So yeah, it's bittersweet that it's over, but it's cool. Yeah.
He gonna come out like brother Muhammad Salim. The coronavirus, my brothers. Hold on, relax. Relax, dog. Go inside. Go social distance. Like the rest of them.
I mean, could y'all imagine though being locked up since 1997 till now?
I like my freedom.
And the other thing is too, we got to remember, because DC is not a state, all of the time these guys did was federal. So they could they've been shipped out to Cali, West Virginia. I mean, far away from Minnesota. Their families. Wherever a federal institution is, that's where they went. You know what I'm saying? Damn. So these guys, man, would literally, and that's one of the scariest things. It's like he's literally spent his adult life in jail. He hasn't legally driven a car, legally bought a drink, legally had a credit card or a debit card or anything. And when he went inside, cell phones were the
Poom poom
size
shop.
of, huh?
Little poom poom shop.
Well, I think some of that has been diverted in the federal system, depending on the guards. But
Mm.
I'm going to tell those stories. I'll let them tell it. But when he went in, man, cell phones were the size of fucking sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is crazy, man. And it's really an amazing thing when you sit there and you work with cats and they ask you like, yo, how does the email thing work? How does Instagram work? How does the cookies on your phone, on the web browser, how does that work? When these dudes went in, we had dial up AOL. We had dial up AOL if they were around, so it shit is crazy.
Nah, I definitely understand what you're saying, EJ. Like I can think about like kind of my transition from the military to being a civilian, and like I remember when I left and I was stationed in Japan, I was gone over there for a year. When I came back, like even in that 1 year time frame, like things back home had changed. Things looked different. This was open. This was now closed. Whatever. Things that used to be the spot, it's no longer the spot. Um, Same thing. Like when I remember when I first got out of the Marines and I had to go to the doctor. I had to ask somebody, like, how do you go to the doctor? Because like in the military, you just go to sick call. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's where everybody on the base goes, And so, like, I didn't know, like, you got to go find your own fucking doctor and then make an appointment and then, show up with your insurance card and all this kind of shit. And I'm like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and I mean, granted, I have my freedom, et cetera, et cetera. So it's nowhere in comparison, but I can see like having those experience and then imagining them, 10, 100 times over, on what it'll be for somebody like that who spent the majority of their adult life incarcerated,
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
Nigga ain't never woke up in the middle of the night and just been like, you know what? I'm gonna just go get a snack.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like that's the biggest part of lockdown. Like for me, anytime I think about doing time or doing a crime that would do time, I think about like I like to get up, in the middle of the night, go get me a fucking bottle of water, you know what I mean? Maybe sit down if I'm not tired and watch a fucking show, get up and go take a shit, in privacy. Imagine, if you're in there, you don't have those privacies. That shit's taken away from you. Your fucking rights are taken away. You don't get to choose what time you're gonna fucking eat. You know what I mean? If it ain't fucking time for chow, you ain't eating. You know what I mean?
Brother.
Aside from whatever you might have,
brother.
And then for 20, like to go in as a kid, like 17. Imagine 17. To your point, EJ, 23 years ago. You think about it, right? Facebook wasn't around. Instagram wasn't around, Twitter wasn't around, Snapchat wasn't around, Xbox Live wasn't around, PlayStation Network wasn't around. You know what I'm saying? Like all this shit, all this interaction with people virtually, like none of that was a thing. Like back then you had to call motherfuckers and be like, yo, like texting wasn't a thing like that. Pictures, no nudes. Like this gonna come out after 23 years and be like, what? I got it at the fingertips. You know what I'm saying? Back then it wasn't like, you had to be on a whole desktop computer on AOL, wait for it to download, wait for them to say sent, and then open it up. You know what I'm saying?
Send to receive. Remember that?
Yeah,
Send
man.
SQR. And to your point, and I think that's one of the things I appreciate about working with these guys most is going in there every day because you get subjected to feeling it too. You get subjected to feeling locked down with them too because the institution, it's not even about the officers, it's not even about the inmates, the institution and the laws. When you see the inequity in laws, like we saw certain guys getting released for certain things, and we're talking about different ethnicities. You can read up on the stuff and you see different guys getting let off or the sentencing and all of that kind of stuff and how unfair and it is. And when you look at the letter of the law, you have these judges and these lawyers, prosecutors rather, these, and I'm gonna say these judges specifically, that have the letter of the law in front of them. They see clearly what is within their rights to do based on these laws. Hey, this guy fits the time. He's got a stellar report and recommendation from where he's at. He's not a violent guy right now. He's showing a lot of progress. Let him go. But you see in a lot of these instances, they're saying, well, I don't think. And it's like, yeah, a lot of that has to come into it, but how much do we really value or weigh your feelings? You're human. You may see one thing and he may be something else, and that human error and and just the elements of these judges. And I know VP could tie this to a larger political conversation, but it's just it's kind of disheartening, man. And you kind of start doing that time with them, and family and friends, they feel that, 23 years, man. Dudes haven't seen their kids that was born. Granted, a lot of these dudes did do the crime that they did, and it is what it is. But at 17 and you've done 23 years, I think at some point, man, if you're showing some form of reform, this is what prison is supposed to be about. So yeah, it's, and just the inequality and the rulings and everything that goes on just ethnically with our people is still a problem, and still a problem for me. So yeah.
Lesson learned.
Mm,
Fucking states is opening.
mm,
States is opening
mm,
prematurely. Fucking Florida. Um, More reason for me not to interact with people because we're in a red state. So these motherfuckers, they're gonna think, well, we open. Trump says it's safe. So like yesterday, I went to I went to the UPS store to drop something off, and it's right next to Publix, and the Publix is still practicing distancing and limiting the capacity to the store. So there was a line, but the bulk of the people in the line didn't have on masks, didn't have
mm,
on gloves, none of
mm,
that shit. There was a few of them, but and there was a few that were elderly that didn't have them on. One particularly fucking had on a MAGA hat, a red MAGA hat. Old dude standing in line, no mask, no gloves. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. Um, but yeah, shit is gonna open prematurely. And I had a conversation with somebody yesterday at work who was like, well, yeah, I think we need to, it has to open, we're not gonna find a cure and yada yada yada. And I was like, it's not about finding a cure. I said it's about having it under control. Once it's under control, then we should start. But right now, this shit is still out of fucking control. They don't have the fucking facts about the shit. Yet they're gonna say, I think it's okay for us to go ahead and pop shit open and allow people, as long as we stay under 25% of capacity. Some of these restaurants are large. You know what I'm saying? Some of them have 125 capacity or 200 capacity, right? And so now you're saying that you can put 50 people in there? And just a week ago, you were saying we can't have more than 10 people or more than 5 people in a huddle, in a group somewhere, plus workers. So now you got 50 at capacity, plus the workers, plus the servers, plus the fucking greeters, plus the cooks. You know what I'm saying? I'm not on board. I'm not rolling. I'll be inside for another month or so.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, man. And part of the issue is that in this country, we value money over everything, And so in this particular situation, this pandemic, it's basically money over people's safety, over their lives, etc. So that's why people are saying, "Oh, we got to get open back up. We got to get things back to normal." Things aren't gonna be normal until there's a vaccine. And part of the problem is we've said it ad nauseum on this podcast and in our chats about the issue being that there's not enough testing. And even the numbers that we see today showing the million plus people who have it or who have had it and the 60,000 plus people who have died from it, those numbers are not accurate because we don't have the testing. And once we start opening back up, yesterday was in a lot of states, they said was the highest number of reported cases yesterday. And this is because we've started to open back up, and we're going to start seeing people get sick, and it's going to get worse. And then we're going to be right back to where we are today. I'm not saying, we need to stay work at home, social distancing for the next year or however long it's going to take until there's a vaccine. But you can't, I think, to say, hey, we shut things down for 3 weeks, so now everything should be all good. No, that's not the case. You look at a country like Italy, for example, where our numbers are the most comparable to, because things got really crazy over there. Italy was shut down for like almost 2 months, before they started easing restrictions and letting people, go back out to kind of normal. And we've, had, 2 weeks in some places, a week in others, a month in some. It's just, things are gonna get crazy, man. It's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, man.
Capitalistic society. We worried about the dollars versus the people. This is the culture of this country. That's why we're always going to be that way.
Yeah. And the thing that pisses me off, like, I've been seeing a lot of stories over the past week about like with food and stuff. And you've seen these news stories of, people lining up for miles, in their cars trying to get food from these food banks and stuff, and then you see stories of farmers who are throwing out food because they say it's cheaper for them to just throw it away versus giving it away, because they don't have to pay the shipping costs. And then I think to somebody like Trump, who has declared himself a wartime president, declared a national emergency, etc., right? And I'm thinking, why not use our military? Or you don't even got to use the military. You could use each state's National Guard to go to these farms and get this food and deliver it to these food banks and places of need instead of throwing it away. Why not use the emergency powers and the emergency funding that Congress has given you the discretion to use to tell these farmers, hey, we're not going to pay retail for this shit. We'll pay you 50 cents on a dollar. You're not throwing it away, but you're not going to be whole, but you're not losing everything at the same time. While you're doing that, these farmers don't have to lay off all of their workers because they are making some money, right? And people are being fed. You know what I mean? Now, I'm just some fucking dude thinking this shit up. Like, where's the people who are in charge coming up with shit like this? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the shit that really bothers me,
But this is
Making
what
millions of
people
dollars.
they getting what they voted for, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is what these red states and these farmers said they wanted. They wanted somebody they thought that said they was going to protect them and protect their jobs. And this is what you got when you got a rich white racist guy in office who never really cared about you in the first place. Unfortunately, you got what you paid for.
Indeed. And I mean, you can only hope that people start to be responsible with it. Like, just having people out and about, it's just crazy. Like, these are the statistics from the app that Mark built right here, right? These are our global the global numbers that we got going on right now. I know it's probably small, but 3 million confirmed, 243,000 deaths in the and that's global. Now, when we look at the United States, we got 1,132,000 confirmed at this point, and 29,000 deaths. And again, we're talking that is being confirmed, right? And I guess to your point, VP, is confirmed is just people that were tested. It's not the people that went in prior to us having testing that were deathly ill, that they couldn't figure it out, and maybe they thought it was just an upper respiratory system or complication of diabetes, the reason for their passing, or whatever, and it could have potentially been fucking COVID related, or they just had a bad fucking case of the flu, right? How many flu deaths this past season, since the shit's been around, were truly COVID? I don't know, man. I think this is what to EJ's point, this is what people voted for, man. And just the decision making is not there. I would suggest people still remain safe, stay inside. Just because it's open doesn't mean you have to go. And if so, be responsible with it. Maybe you need to get out. Like today, we might go to the beach, but we're not going to the beach. We're gonna go to one where you can just drive to and drive on the beach and just drive by. You know what I'm saying? But we're not gonna fucking get out. We may not even open the motherfucking windows. You know what I'm saying? So, but people just gotta, gotta be responsible, man.
Yeah. Yep.
So, soapbox done. EJ, anything else we missed? I know you are topic man. I'm a topic man.
I want to talk about the versus situation. They got Erica Badu lined up to face Jill Scott, but before we dive into that, I'm kind of disappointed, that we aren't getting much more action and much more frequent, battles, because I think their battle isn't gonna happen until like next Saturday or something like that. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like, where are the other battles? What's going on? Um, you know, we need that heat. We still got quarantine going on. We need something going on. But yeah, Erica Badu versus Jill Scott. What y'all think?
I'm gonna have to get me a head wrap for that one. I'm gonna have to pop up. I might have to go live that night. I'm gonna have me a head wrap, some essential oils. Like it's gonna be some incense. It's gonna be popping in my spot. I'm not looking forward to it. To be completely honest with you, like I look forward to it to hear the music, but I don't know if I'm excited for it. Like I don't know if that's the one to follow Babyface and fucking Teddy. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's a bad battle. Not saying that I don't want to see it or I wouldn't want to eventually see it. I just don't know if that's the one to follow fucking Teddy and Babyface. Like, I think you could have gone the Usher route. I think you could have done the Diddy and fucking Dre one instead. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate that right now they're talking about popping everything open. By the time the Diddy and Dre one comes out, things might be open. And maybe they're looking for a different fucking avenue because Instagram, crashed or something before they do those two fucking moguls. But I mean, I'm here for it and I'm gonna watch it, right? I'm gonna watch it. Badu is funny, she's cool, and Jill Scott is kind of funny too, but musically and my like I'm not anticipating it as much as I was for fucking, the last one.
No, I can feel that, Steve. I kind of feel the same way. I think that like artists and the vein of those two, like that neo soul kind of thing, a lot of them don't really get their due because their shit ain't the stuff that's on the radio all the time. It's not what's being played in the clubs and et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? But when you listen to it, you get a lot of meaning. You get hella vocals, you know what I mean? But it's just that it's not the stuff that you're going to hear on the radio on the day to day. And so I think it is something that will make people feel like exactly what you said. I'm here for it, but I'm not excited about it. Like I wouldn't miss an appointment to watch it, like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of, I could see when we saw Babyface and Teddy, we was at what, like 500,000-600,000 or something like that, and I could see the numbers being drastically lower for Jill Scott, Erica Badu.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Between them two, I probably only know max 6 songs.
Right. I mean, I like I said, I like Erica Badu. I think she's funny. She's a character. And Jill Scott has gotten some good publicity lately since she was, talking about sucking dick. And, that's a long, a lot of change from fucking let's take a long walk around the block.
Well, they said she's been doing that though. They said that's been a part of her show for years, but again, if you're not like VP and your point is saying, like, when the concert comes, it ain't usually, everybody ain't usually jumping out. Not, and I mean, they got a strong fan base, but I'm saying, like, universally, if that ain't your lane, you might not be jumping to that, so yeah, I'm kind of questioning what Swiss and them are doing right now with the versus thing. I don't think we've seen enough of it because here we go, another weekend has passed and we haven't had any action.
You think if I order a dashiki, it'll be here by Saturday for my live?
Probably not. Not if you get it through Amazon.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna get one of them leather African pendants from like the 90s, the joint I used to.
You mean the one that you got? You mean the one that you got?
I gotta find it. I know it's somewhere.
His Nation joint? Yeah, I ain't forget about that, champ.
I gotta get it. I gotta find it. I look
Looking
forward to it.
Like you want to see Black Panther.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
On the KRS-One shit.
You know, I might just watch a little. I might watch Roots first, and then Black Panther. You know, a little bit of this, and then. Why haven't we heard anybody get paired up against Fat Joe, EJ?
Against Fat Joe, like for hits.
Yeah. Like why has there not been any talk about Fat Joe? Like Fat Joe, like this nigga got hits, and it's every year, every summer, he always got hits. Now he might not, you know, even his albums and shit are not, you know, crazy, but
his albums have been great. But I think you got to be a true hip hop fan, and like we talked about this last time, the versus environment, the versus flow isn't really for people that are really into this, you know, the discs of these people. So I don't know. I mean, he's got some bangers, but then when you look at the early career stuff, a lot of people not gonna know that. You know, the digging in the crates years and all that. So I mean, that 50 Cent Ja Rule joint should definitely happen, but I don't think he's ever gonna get into it.
They're gonna have to find someone else to play 50 songs because he gonna be on that live. He gonna be like, how can I kill this nigga through Instagram?
Exactly. But if it happens, I will be there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think everyone will be there. That'll be comedic gold, man. 50 Cent is a funny dude, man. He's a funny.
Yeah, he really hates this motherfucker. Like, you know, like remember the shit like a year or two ago they were saying that like Ja Rule was supposed to do a show somewhere and like 50 Cent bought out like the first couple of rows, like all the tickets, so that it would be empty.
That's some shit. Yo, that's some spiteful rich boy shit too, man. That shit crazy.
This nigga. Oh my god, yo.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I was trying to think of who I would pair a Fat Joe up against, man, and I can't.
But yeah, and you know what? But again, so going back to the structure of these battles, if you had it more frequently, and because all of them are not going to be the big build up like Babyface versus Teddy Riley, you could be having multiple type battles. Like you just had a whole weekend of no activity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you could have these joints on there, like, you know, and people that want to tune in, they're going to tune in. Throw Fat Joe in there. Who we put him against? That's a great question. Who has been in that era? Like somebody was just telling me, like a friend of mine just did something with Busta and DMX. You know, I think Busta could have probably been more suited for a guy like Fat Joe. You know, but you know, it's definitely out there.
Busta's got he's got a lot of cameos and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like I mean like a Jada Kiss. Jada and fucking or somebody
that'll be hard for me. Jada and Fat Joe. I'm biased when it comes to Jada. Yeah, man. I like you guys know, like for me, I used to listen to all Southern shit, and then when I got in the Marines and I started meeting people from other parts of the country, you know, I started getting put on to other music. And like the first like up north shit that I started listening to that just like spoke to me was Jada. Man, I fucks with Jada, yo.
Mark shaved his head bald.
But you know what though? Like I think they also, you know, when we talk about music, you know, like we always say, like how the youngins don't know shit, they don't know the history or like all this good music, da da da. You know, so why not make the next one like something that's like a territorial kind of thing where like you have like a Outcast and a Mob Deep, you know what I'm saying? And you know, people can
I
start
think
hearing
Mobb
like
Deep
some of
was
that
too
old
fast.
shit. And well, I mean, I'm just saying like kind of
Outcast
to
is
give the
something
music
different.
to give
I
people
agree.
like a, you know, let them see it. You know what I mean? Like what made me think about that? Like last night, my wife was showing me this post that she saw on Facebook, and the person was like, "When music was good," and it was like the 1995 Grammys or something. Like, I can't remember the exact year, but it was in the 90s. And for like best male artist, it was Luther Vandross, I'll Be Sure, Johnny Gill, Babyface, and it was one other artist I can't remember, but that was the category. And it's like, God damn, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And like you look at this shit today, and it's kind of like, you know, Mario versus Chris Brown. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, dog. Like we had legends, dog. You know, and now, you know,
They need to do like a Boyz II Men versus Jodeci battle. Like I'm there for that.
I'm
Some
here for that.
crazy shit. I'm there. But yeah, I think you're onto something, man. Like um a Scarface and somebody, you know, even though Face is, I mean, he's Texas, but you know, or even like Ludacris and somebody from up north, like a Luda and Fat Joe wouldn't be horrible. Luda's
Right.
got some hits and some bangers, and like you said, now you're getting two different demographics as opposed to just getting Southern or just getting New York or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of Scarface, man, let's hope that he pulls through with his battle with the
Face,
coronavirus.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about it, and that's the scary part. Like when you like, there's been people that you've heard, like when let's say Tom Hanks and shit, and other fucking stars and celebrities, and what's the other nigga from Slim Thug? Like you heard updates throughout the time, you know, where they're like, oh, they're doing better, and you know, shit like that. But like with Fred, like Fred the Godson, you saw him post the picture in the fucking hospital on the ventilator, like, yo, pray for me, I'm in here with this corona shit, and then you didn't hear shit until, you know, unfortunately, you know, again, rest in peace, Fred. They said that he passed away, and I think it's a similar, you know, with Face Mob, you know, Scarface, fucking. We heard that he had it, but nobody has posted any updates. And usually, when it's like that, that means the family's holding it close to their chest, man. So, you know,
Mm,
you gotta hope for the best, man, for Face and
yeah.
for anybody, right? Not just them, but anyone that's impacted by it. You know, shit is fucking disgusting and nasty, and it's unfortunate that people don't, you know, the people that are the decision makers until they're impacted heavily, you know, they're going to continue to make piss poor decisions, you know. But everything they see, right? Think about all the big names, Cuomo's brother, and all the politicians and shit that got it, and the Caucasoids that got it. They fucking they all pulled through. You know what I'm saying? So you got their people, their same people sitting in there, and they're like, fuck it, it's nothing, because they don't, you know, they don't struggle with, you know, the diabetes, the sugar, like we do as much, you know.
Mhm.
Um, so it's easy for them to say, well, fuck it, we good. Plus, they got the money for, you know, whatever, to get to purchase a ventilator or whatever the fuck it is. Like if they need to care for themselves in home, um, you know, the decision making is piss poor, man. And if they're gonna make bad decisions, you know, we as people got to make good decisions. And so, you know, decision I made is I'm essential. I go to work, I come home. That's it. Like everything else, we get delivered. Y'all niggas go shop for me, leave it outside at the garage. We wipe it down. We bring it in the house, put it in the freezer, whatever. You know, but I'm not going into these stores, man. I'm not chancing that shit.
Yeah, it's like we said before, man. It's definitely going to change the fabric of life as we know it. I'm still I'm still like I'm looking at some of the local bars here, how they're doing carry out brunch and all of that kind of stuff. And I've seen how it looks like some places have remodeled to where they got more space and they got floor markers to kind of tell people how much distance they have. So I mean, you think about those times where you go out with a bunch of people, a bunch of friends, and you take your shots and all of the stuff you used to do. I mean, it's kind of altered, man. That experience is maybe never be the same again.
Imagine taking a shot and you don't know who had that last shot glass before you. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have to have disposables, like, right? You would think. You cannot have fucking shot glasses and shit that you just pass around for the 25% in the bars and shit like that. Like that shit that's how you end up sick. And the one thing I'm waiting for is that first video, because you know what's gonna happen. That first viral video where somebody coughs in a restaurant and maybe they don't cover their mouth and it turns into a fucking issue. One of us pop off like, Karen, why didn't you fucking cover your mouth? You know what I mean? And it turns into some nastiness because you know it's gonna happen. And then so
yeah, man, this is scary, and I know if you think about it too, even further, man. I mean, thank God this virus is, as I guess, mild, not mild, but I guess to the level that it is, because if it was even more deadly, what are we gonna do in the future? What are we really gonna do in the future?
Right. And now they got them goddamn, what were they, mosquitoes or bees they talking about that are killing people?
Killer hornets.
Hornets?
Oh, the hornets.
Fuck, man. Why couldn't Wu-Tang just stay their ass in Africa or something? Like, shit, like killer bees, man. Yeah, man. So, we got anything else, or are we taking it down to Browntown for VP so he can get us?
I'm good.
VP, you got anything that you want to talk about, chit chat about?
Not that I want to talk about, but next week is Mother's Day. Don't forget.
I know, and I can't even talk to you guys about my plans or what I'm gonna do, if I'm gonna do, because my mom and my wife listen to us. So if they listen throughout the week, they're gonna know that I have no clue besides the stuff that I've already ordered, how to continue to make it special. Because of this damn pandemic.
True.
Bastards.
True. Got to keep it close to chest. Can't even give us any ideas over here. Send it through the chat, because that is going to be unique, I guess, for those of us that were used to taking their moms or spouses out for that day and other things. What are you gonna do Mother's Day on quarantine?
Or even just gathering. Just gathering. You know what I mean? Like,
or you could just blame your shitty ass gift on the quarantine.
True.
Or we just say, let's do it how we do Father's Day.
You're welcome. Equality.
Here's a chicken breast for you. I got you a tie and some socks.
Yeah, equality. Welcome.
Yeah, for real. Indeed. Man. Repeat feminist card is being taken. This quarantine done.
We tainted them, man. We've done it. We have done it. We have brought them back to the dark side. We have done it. A year ago, he'd have been like, "Oh, that's bullshit." Nah, it ain't like that.
You should risk your life for the women, because
you gotta let them know they appreciate it.
He would have been on his Tupac shit.
You don't want them to feel that way. We know how we feel on Father's Day.
Since we all came from a woman, got our name from a woman. Like, nigga, I heard that somewhere before. Where did that
go? Yo, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Mother's Day. Order this now, gentlemen. Order them pair of socks and tie now, gentlemen.
Yeah, get on the Uber Eats. Get your Uber Eats in early. EJ, you gotta remind me though. I gotta call your mom for fucking Mother's Day.
Shit, me, I got hard enough time. Hey, never mind, but gotta worry about yourself, brother.
Nice,
oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, Mother's Day next weekend. Figure it out, man. Figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Hopefully they'll open some stores up and I can go buy some shit.
Yeah.
I heard Mother's Day was on cease and desist until further notice due to the quarantine.
Listen,
that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
All right. Well, don't let your mom don't let your mom figure out you was
I got this letter from the mayor.
Shit's in the mail.
You I got this letter from the mayor saying I can't leave the house.
Right.
Well, Trump said, nah.
Did you get your letter from Trump about your stimulus check?
Yeah, after I got it. I'm cool with that though. They could have saved the money, but
yes.
Word. Exactly. That was a waste of paper.
But not just that though. Think about it. The point of the letter is that it's the IRS trying to let you know that it was sent out just in case somebody pulls some shit and change your direct deposit with the IRS. But you got the letter weeks after you got the money because they had to change it to put his fucking signature on it,
I signed the letter. It's going down in history.
Sincerely, Donald.
Yeah.
The Don.
I opened that shit up and threw it in the trash, man.
I just wanted to make sure they wasn't trying to take no money. As soon as I seen that shit, I was like,
read the fine print. Read the fine print.
Listen, as long as they wasn't asking for no money right now, I was like,
That just scared me. That shit said the Treasury. I seen it in my mailbox. I'm like, fuck, we audited. we audited.
Like shit.
Fucking TurboTax. God damn it.
Fuck. Got me. Yeah. So as soon as I seen that shit, I was like, these motherfuckers tore that bitch up real quick.
Right. Real got a terrible signature for a president. It's a terrible signature.
Terrible.
All right, man. VP, if you can take us down for the count here. I think we've held the peoples long enough.
All right, folks, as always, we definitely appreciate you making the choice to rock with us and listen to the podcast, help us grow this thing. And like we said earlier, don't forget next week is Mother's Day. Here's your reminder. You'll probably get it on Tuesday. But anyway, you can find us on any platform where you can get a podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Deezer. If they got podcasts, we're on it. Just search Castworthy. Our social media is at Castworthy on Instagram. It's at Castworthy_podcast. And again, as always, we definitely appreciate you guys making that choice to listen to us and ride with us. And we'll definitely see you in the next one, bringing you some new content. Stay home, stay safe, and take care of you and yours. Peace.